Dr. Myra Talvek had been running for 3 weeks, and she was running out of time. The discovery buried in Kessler 9 ancient rock formations could revolutionize xenoarchaeology, precursor technology that several powerful factions would kill to possess. The syndicate had been hunting her since they learned about her findings, and Myra knew that anyone who helped her became a target. That's why when she encountered Jack Morrison, a human cargo pilot refueling his broken-down freighter in the same remote sector where she was hiding, her first instinct was to warn him away. Jack was checking fuel lines when Myra emerged from the rocky terrain, exhausted and clearly running from something. She'd been surviving on emergency rations, her clothes were torn, and her long Viridian ears were constantly scanning for threats. Jack immediately offered help: food, shelter, transportation. Myra's response was fierce. "Don't follow me. Don't help me. I'll put you in danger. There are people hunting me, and if they find you with me, they'll kill you without hesitation. Just forget you saw me and leave." She meant it. Viridian culture valued individual responsibility. You didn't burden others with your problems, didn't drag innocents into conflicts. But Jack, who'd spent years navigating morally complicated frontier territories, recognized desperation when he saw it. He also recognized that whoever this woman was running from, she wouldn't survive much longer alone. His response caught her off guard. "How far to where you need to go?" Myra stared at him. "You weren't listening. I said don't follow me. People are trying to kill me." "I heard you. How far?" "You're insane. This isn't your problem." "Maybe not, but you look like you could use a ride and I'm heading in most directions. So, how far?" Myra's long ears flattened with frustration and something that might be hope she was trying to suppress. She shouldn't accept. Every instinct said involving this stranger was wrong. But she was exhausted. The syndicate was closing in, and the relay station was still 200 kilometers away through hostile terrain. Against her better judgment, she gave him the coordinates. The journey started poorly. Jack's freighter, the Wayfinder, was old, temperamental, and not designed for speed or combat. Myra spent the first hours arguing that Jack should drop her off and leave before the syndicate found them. Jack spent those hours coaxing extra speed from his engines and explaining why he wasn't abandoning her. "I've made bad decisions before," he said while adjusting navigation. "This might be one of them, but leaving someone to die alone isn't something I can live with. You don't understand. The syndicate doesn't take prisoners. They don't leave witnesses. Then we don't get caught." His confidence baffled Myra. Viridians were cautious, calculating, always assessing risk. This human seemed to operate on stubbornness and optimism, neither of which were survival strategies she recognized. She told him about her discovery, the precursor artifacts, the technology that could revolutionize energy production and archaeological understanding, the syndicate's determination to acquire it for black market sale. "If I can reach the relay station, transmit my findings to the scientific community, it doesn't matter if they catch me afterward. The knowledge will be public, protected." "Let's focus on the not getting caught part," Jack suggested. The syndicate found them on day 2. A pursuit ship appeared on sensors, faster, better armed than the Wayfinder. Jack immediately diverted course, using his knowledge of Kessler 9 geography to navigate through canyon systems and atmospheric interference that made targeting difficult. Myra watched him pilot with grudging respect. He wasn't trained military, just an experienced hauler who'd learned to fly defensively in dangerous territories. But skill only got them so far. The syndicate ship was gaining. Jack made a desperate decision. He landed in a narrow canyon, powered down to minimal systems, and hoped the pursuit vessel passed overhead without detecting them. They waited in tense silence, listening to engines echoing off canyon walls. Myra's long ears detected the exact moment the syndicate ship began circling back. "They know we're here," Myra whispered. "They'll land and search on foot. You need to leave now. Draw them away, let me continue on foot." Jack looked at her like she'd suggested he cut off his own arm. We're in this together. We run together or we fight together, but I'm not leaving you to face armed mercenaries alone. This isn't your fight. It became my fight when I said yes to giving you a ride. That's how responsibility works. Myra realized with frustrated amazement that this human wasn't going to abandon her, no matter how logically she argued. The standoff in the canyon became a turning point. The syndicate team landed, 3 armed mercenaries with thermal scanners and professional efficiency. "I have a plan," Jack whispered. "It's terrible, but it's all I've got." His plan involved using mining explosives from the Wayfinder's cargo hold to create a diversion. Myra should have objected. Instead, she found herself helping him rig the charges, her xenogeology expertise actually useful for calculating blast patterns. "You're good at this," Jack commented as they worked. "Geology includes understanding how rocks break under stress. Apparently that translates to explosive placement. Remind me never to make you angry." Despite the danger, Myra almost smiled. They were working together with unexpected synchronicity, Jack's practical problem-solving complementing her technical knowledge. For the first time since this nightmare started, Myra didn't feel alone. The diversion worked better than expected. The explosion sent rock cascading through the canyon, creating enough chaos for them to sprint to the Wayfinder and take off while the syndicate team scrambled for cover. Over the following days, as they navigated toward the relay station with pursuit continuing, Myra and Jack developed a partnership born from necessity, but growing into genuine trust. Jack learned about Viridian culture, the emphasis on self-reliance, the honor code that made Myra reluctant to endanger others. Myra learned about Jack's background, growing up on frontier worlds, losing his family to corporate exploitation, becoming independent because it meant not being beholden to powerful interests. "Is that why you helped me?" Myra asked during a rest stop. "Because I'm running from powerful interests. I helped you because you needed help and I could provide it. The rest is just details." Most people would calculate the risk and decide I'm not worth it. Jack's expression was serious. "Most people aren't as smart as they think. You're worth helping because you're a person in danger. That's all the reason necessary." Myra's long ears angled forward, profound respect. She'd spent her life believing involving others was weakness. Jack was teaching her a different perspective. That partnership isn't weakness, that accepting help isn't failure. The final confrontation came at the relay station. Jack and Myra arrived to find the syndicate had anticipated their destination and set up an ambush. Armed mercenaries surrounded the facility, and communication systems were sabotaged. Myra's entire plan collapsed. "You should go," she told Jack. "This is impossible. The transmitters are down. You've done more than anyone could ask. Please just go live." Jack was quiet then. "What if we don't use the relay station?" "What do you mean?" "Your data is encrypted, right? Can be transmitted from any sufficiently powerful comm system." "Theoretically, but the Wayfinder has long-range comms. If we boost the signal, broadcast on multiple frequencies, maybe we get your findings to enough receivers that the syndicate can't suppress them all." It was desperate, improvised, and might not work, but it was something. They spent hours rigging Jack's communication systems, using Myra's equipment to boost the signal. When the syndicate realized what they were doing, they launched an assault. Jack and Myra defended the ship together, Jack with combat skills from dangerous territories, Myra with scientific equipment repurposed as improvised weapons. They held off the first wave long enough for transmission to begin. The second wave was harder. Jack took a hit protecting Myra, shrapnel tearing into his shoulder. He went down and Myra faced a choice: run and survive or stay and fight. She stayed. Using every bit of Viridian sensory capability, every piece of geological knowledge, every ounce of courage Jack's loyalty had built in her, she defended the Wayfinder long enough for transmission to complete. The data broadcast across multiple frequencies, reaching academic institutions, news networks, independent researchers. Within hours, Myra's findings were replicated, verified, celebrated across dozens of worlds. When local security finally arrived, they found Myra and Jack alive but injured, the syndicate in retreat, and evidence of a discovery that would reshape xenoarchaeology. In the medical facility afterward, Myra sat beside Jack's bed. "You refused to turn back. I told you to leave, told you it wasn't your fight, told you I'd put you in danger, and you refused. Why?" Jack's answer was simple, even groggy from medication. "Because it's not my fight is just an excuse to abandon people who need help. Because you deserved someone who wouldn't give up on you. And because you're brilliant, brave, and worth fighting for, even if you're terrible at accepting help." Myra's long ears expressed emotion she'd suppressed her whole life. Gratitude, affection, profound relief of not being alone. Viridian culture teaches self-reliance, that asking for help is weakness. Viridian culture is wrong about that. Strength isn't doing everything alone. It's knowing when to trust someone to stand with you. Months later, after proper documentation of her discovery and Jack's ship repairs, they made a decision. They'd work together. Myra continuing research, Jack providing transportation and support. Not just professional partnership, but friendship forged in danger and sustained by mutual trust. When people asked Jack why he risked his life for a stranger's research, he always gave the same answer. "She told me not to follow her, that she'd put me in danger, but turning back wasn't an option, not when someone needs help." And Myra, whose culture taught her that endangering others was the greatest dishonor, had learned a new truth. Sometimes the greatest honor is accepting help. Sometimes strength means trusting someone to refuse to abandon you. Years later, working together on dozens of expeditions, they remained the team formed in that desperate chase. The Viridian scientist who learned to accept partnership and the human pilot who refused to turn back. Because some bonds aren't built on logic. They're built on the stubborn choice to stand together, no matter what comes.